This is State Representative Bill Otto with another No Bull Zone report. This time I want to take you back to 1966, when according to this almanac, the population of Kansas was 2.2 million and the budget was 518 million. This is my class with Governor Avery and my representative Finney. We went and visited the Capitol. The state office building, which is now docking, was the state office building in 1966. Now, docking is one of many buildings. This is where my office is, and is now called Docking Office Building after Governor Docking. This houses not much now. It used to house, between there and the Capitol Building, which had the Supreme Court, the Attorney General, and many other offices, housed the government of Kansas. This was the Jayhawk Tower in 1966. It was a hotel. Now it's leased by a government agency such as the Fire Marshal Office. There are buildings all over Topeka. In 1966, old buildings, office buildings, stood south of the Capitol. Now the modern Supreme Court stands in that facility. It was wiped out by the tornado in 1966. You going around Topeka, you'll see that this sign is a little wrong. Thriftiness has lost. This was the Santa Fe building. Now it's the Alf Landon office building. This was the Department of Education, and guess what? It still is, surprisingly. This was the old Museum of History. Now it is for the Secretary of State and the Attorney General. They have a whole new facility outside of town, and of course you paid for it. Kansas does have a rich history, and this is a great tourist attraction, and it's probably good that we have it. But look at all those buildings way back there on many grounds, and they are full of stuff. But Kansas history could be a great tourism, so I don't mind that too much. This building is another building. I don't know what it was in 1966, but it's just about all state offices leased by the state of Kansas. 66, this was an insurance building. But now it's part of the Eisenhower building, and this is the other wing of it. I don't know whether this building was here, but it now houses KDOT. I don't know where KDOT was before 1966. I guess it wasn't that big. This is the KBI building, and it was an old school in 1966. This wasn't here, but there was an insurance building, and I'm afraid I did vote to buy that. This was an addition. Here's another view of the KBI building. We have buildings all over Topeka. This is the parking lot of the Highway Patrol, and you'd think they'd have a big building, but surprisingly, this is an old fraternal building, and there's the new Highway Patrol headquarters. Well, it's not very new. Topeka State Hospital, we own many buildings out there that are vacant, many of them not being used. There's an SRS building on the grounds of Topeka State Hospital. Coming up is a very beautiful building. I mean, this looks like a historical building itself. Why we don't do something with it, I don't know. This is the state printer. It used to be south of the Capitol, but it blew away in '66, I guess. I have been accused of giving the state printer a little bit too much work trying to write bills. Here is the Charles Curtis office building that is just off the Capitol. Brand new building constructed recently, and just behind the Charles Curtis you can see the parking garage. I thought originally that was the one we were talking about, not the one at the Capitol. This is the Department of Aging, another building downtown. I guess we leased this building, and this is full of state offices. I don't know what it was in 1966. This was a high school in 1966, Hayden. It's not owned by the state, but the top floor is leased by a health agency. This is Dillon House. This was given to us, I guess. We use it just for social occasions, but taxpayers, guess what? You maintain it. Coming up is the Insurance Commissioner's headquarters. And I think it was probably YMCA or something. I'm not certain, but you own that building. Wildlife and Parks has a lot of land out on what the old Menninger Foundation was, and they have a headquarters there. This is Cedar Crest. It's the littlest governor's mansion on the largest grounds. Forbes Field in '66 was an Air Force base. Now it's at the headquarters for Department of Health and Environment on the old hospital, and we have other buildings there. You thought we privatized SRS? Well, they have a big building downtown. There's a big SRS building. Since '66, we formed several retirements. This is the CAPERS, Kansas Public Employee Retirement System. That's their headquarters, downtown Topeka. Here comes up one that you lease this for a pretty good chunk of change every year. Can't tell that from the outside. I guess people in Topeka are getting ashamed. You get up close, you can tell it's a state office building. That's my intern Heather by the entrance. We have buildings like, I don't know what this Kansas Agricultural Statistic, must be another leased building. We have parking lots. This is parking lot 8. We must have parking lots all over the place. It's at least 8. This is the Department of Labor building, and we have another bigger Department of Labor building just down the street. I don't really know what we can possibly do. This is the Kansas People Against Domestic Violence. I don't know whether that's funded agency what? Kansas Association of School Boards. Use your tax dollars to lobby for more tax dollars. Kansas State High School Activities Association regulates activities. Kansas Board of Healing Arts. There are boards everywhere. Engineers. You name it, they have to have a board to do it. This is the Kansas Corporation Commission. They're the ones that thought farmers probably ought to be involved with interstate commerce, and you ought to pay them some more money. They must owe some money on that building. It's very nice. Kansas League of Municipalities, Kansas Organization of Counties have their own building. I don't even know what's in this. This was a Christian bookstore. Now it's a state building. I found these two offices. They're downtown leased in a big building. I don't know whether it says State of Kansas, Kansas Legal Services. I don't know whether that's state agency or group. I don't know. We have at least 2 floors that I noticed on the U.S. Bank building that we lease. You know, when you're in Topeka, you get to see famous people like golfers. Watson, eat your heart out, little brother. Mike Huckabee came and visited. You get to shake hands with them. You get to sit down with people of power and talk to them. But you know, it shouldn't go to anybody's head, because the important thing is right there on my lap, my grandson Brody. We should pay attention to our children. I don't want my daughter in 42 years to pay as much taxes. What are we going to do if government grows that much? My dad can't afford to pay any taxes, and my daughter that's a senior now shouldn't. We should go back maybe when we don't have so many buildings, when the state office building was the state office building. It'd be nice if we have just a little more thriftiness, folks. It would be nice if we could save money. And if you don't think that we're saving enough money, maybe you ought to get a hold of the governor and some other people, because thriftiness is something we should return to, and we should return to it soon.